All right. So today we're all about helping you feel more confident, really ready to just tackle anything
Yeah.
life throws your way. And we found this really cool podcast episode
Mm-hmm.
that just packed with simple tips to boost self-confidence. And I thought it'd be awesome to
Yeah. Yeah.
extract those golden nuggets so we can actually put them into practice.
Totally. And I thought what was really interesting about this source is it goes beyond just, like that surface level advice.
Right.
It digs into the science behind it, which I think is really,
Oh, for sure.
key for making those changes last.
Yeah. Okay, so let's unpack some of that.
Yeah.
The first thing that really jumped out at me was, recognizing our existing strengths.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in what we're not good at or, what we lack that we forget about
Totally.
all the awesome things we already have.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And this source really argues that, true confidence isn't about puffing ourselves up. It's about
Yeah,
building on that solid foundation
Yeah.
of self-awareness.
I love that.
And it made me wonder, what are some of those strengths that you might be overlooking? Like those things that feel almost effortless to you because you're naturally good at them.
That's so funny you say that because I was just thinking, I
Yeah.
often take for granted some of the skills that come easily to me,
Yeah.
but, others might struggle with. And actually, the source suggested
Yeah.
asking a trusted friend or colleague for their perspective because sometimes,
That's so smart.
yeah, they can point out strengths we don't even realize we have.
That's such a brilliant strategy. It's like having a personal hype team
Yes.
that can remind us of,
Yeah.
all those wins, especially when that inner critic starts to creep in.
Oh, speaking of the inner critic, that was another one that really resonated with me. I think we all have that.
Oh, yeah.
Struggle with that voice in our head sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the source really highlights how that inner critic, it often stems from fear, not reality.
Right.
It tends to focus on those worst-case scenarios, blowing things way out of proportion.
Yeah. And the advice here is to actively challenge those thoughts.
Okay.
So when you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, or I'm going to mess this up, just pause and ask, is this really true? What evidence do I have to support this thought?
That's so powerful. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like putting it on trial.
Totally.
The inner critic on trial.
Exactly. And instead of letting those negative thoughts run wild, the source recommends replacing them with positive affirmations.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about shifting that language from I'm going to fail to
Right.
I'm capable and I'm going to give it my best shot.
Love it.
And here's the really cool part.
Okay.
The source goes into the science behind this. And apparently repeating those positive statements can actually rewire those neural pathways, making those positive thoughts stronger over time.
That's really cool.
It's not just wishful thinking. It's about actually shaping our beliefs and expectations.
Wow, that's fascinating. It makes me think of that saying, neurons that fire together wire together.
Yeah. So the more we focus on those positive thoughts,
Exactly.
yeah, the stronger those connections become.
Precisely. And just like any new skill,
Yeah.
it takes practice.
Right.
So at first those affirmations might feel a little forced,
Sure.
but the more we repeat them, the more natural they become.
Yeah. And this whole idea of practice really ties in with the source's next point, which is all about action.
Yeah.
They were very clear. Confidence isn't built by just thinking about it.
Right.
It's built by doing.
Absolutely. But here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The key is to start small.
Okay.
You don't have to conquer the world on day one.
Right.
It's about those baby steps that gradually build momentum.
Yeah.
They even give us some great examples like, if you're nervous about public speaking, practice in the mirror or with a friend if you want to learn a new skill. Sign up for a beginner's class.
Yeah.
It's about breaking those daunting goals into smaller, manageable actions.
That makes so much sense because you're not so overwhelmed by this big goal. And you can just focus on,
Yeah.
those little pieces that are attainable.
Totally.
Yeah. I'm curious, what's one small action you could take today? Based on what we've been talking about, something that aligns with your goals and feels manageable.
That's a great question to ponder. And remember, even the smallest step forward is a victory
Yes.
worth celebrating. It's proof that you're taking control and moving towards those aspirations.
Okay, now this next point from the source completely blew my mind.
Okay.
The power of body language. Apparently, how we hold ourselves physically can actually influence how confident we feel.
Wow.
I know, I'm dying to hear more about this.
This is where that mind-body connection really comes into play.
Yeah.
The source goes into the research behind this, explaining that our physical posture sends signals to our brain impacting everything from our mood to our hormone levels.
So by like consciously changing our body language, we can actually trick our brains to feeling more confident.
Yes, exactly. And one of the techniques they highlight is the power pose.
Ooh, I've heard of this.
It's about standing with your feet apart, hands on your hips, head held high, like you're ready to conquer the world.
I have to admit, I was a little skeptical about this at first.
Yeah.
But I tried it while I was reading this, and I have to say I did feel like a surge of energy and confidence. It's like my body was telling my mind, hey, we got this.
That's so cool. And they even mentioned a study
Wow.
where participants who held the power pose for just 2 minutes
Wow.
experienced a significant increase in testosterone, the hormone associated with confidence,
Wow.
and a decrease in cortisol, which is that stress hormone.
Oh, wow. So it's not just a feeling. There's
Right.
actual physiological evidence to support it.
Exactly. It's not about faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
It's about using our bodies to help shift our mindset.
I like that.
It's a tool we can use to prime ourselves for success, especially in those situations where we need an extra boost,
Totally.
like before a presentation or a job interview.
Okay, so we've talked about recognizing our strengths, silencing that inner critic, taking action, and harnessing the power of body language.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one more point from the source that really struck me. Confidence is a journey, not a destination.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
That's such a powerful reminder.
Yeah.
You know, the source emphasized that confidence isn't a switch we flip on.
Right.
It's an ongoing process
Yeah.
of growth and self-discovery. And there will be ups and downs, moments of doubt and moments of triumph.
So it's about embracing that whole experience,
Yes,
the good, the bad, and everything.
exactly. And they really drove home the importance of self-compassion
Yeah.
throughout this journey.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging how far we've come,
Mm-hmm.
celebrating our progress no matter how small,
Yeah.
and offering ourselves kindness and understanding when we stumble.
That makes so much sense because instead of beating ourselves up for our mistakes, we
Right.
can look at them as valuable lessons and opportunities for growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And by cultivating that self-compassion,
Yes.
we create a safe and supportive inner environment
I love that.
where confidence can flourish.
Yeah.
It's like we're becoming our own best cheerleaders,
Yes.
encouraging ourselves to keep going even when things get tough.
So instead of focusing on reaching that finish line,
Yeah,
it's about enjoying the process
totally.
of becoming more confident, more resilient, and more aligned with our true selves.
That's a great way to put it. And that's what makes this journey so exciting.
Yes.
It's not about arriving at some predetermined destination. It's about exploring,
Mm-hmm.
experimenting,
Yeah.
discovering who we are and what we're capable of along the way.
I love that this has been so insightful.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling more empowered just
Nice.
by talking about all this.
Yeah.
Before we move on, what resonated with you most from this first part of our deep dive?
You know, what really resonated with me is that emphasis on action.
Mm-hmm.
It's that reminder that confidence isn't just, this passive state that we wait to stumble upon. It's something we actually cultivate
Right.
through deliberate action, even if it starts with those small steps.
I completely agree. It's so easy to get stuck in our heads,
Yeah.
like overthinking and analyzing. But,
Totally.
this source makes a really strong case for just getting out there and doing it,
Yes.
even if it feels scary.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating is how those actions,
Right.
even the small ones, create this ripple effect.
Yeah.
They highlighted a study that showed that taking action, regardless of the outcome, actually releases dopamine,
Oh, wow.
which is linked to motivation and pleasure.
Mm.
So it's like we're actually wiring our brains
Yeah.
to associate action with those positive feelings,
That's so cool.
making us more likely to take further action.
Yeah, it reminds me of that quote, the only way to do it is to do it.
Exactly, and it ties back to that,
Yeah.
importance of starting small.
Yeah.
By focusing on those manageable actions, we create a series of wins that build momentum and fuel that belief in ourselves.
And speaking of those small wins,
Yes.
the source also emphasized, celebrating our progress along the way.
Oh, for sure.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget to acknowledge how far we've come.
That's so true. And they actually suggest keeping a success journal
Ooh.
where we actually write down those accomplishments, big and small.
Okay.
It could be anything from nailing a presentation at work
Right.
to finally mastering that new recipe
Oh, I love that.
that you've been trying.
It's like creating a tangible record
Yes,
of your growth and a reminder of what you're capable of.
exactly. Because it's so easy to focus on what we haven't achieved yet.
Right.
that we lose sight of all the amazing things we've already accomplished.
It's like we're always striving for that next milestone.
Yeah.
Without stopping to,
Yeah, to appreciate the view
Yeah.
from where we are.
Appreciate the journey.
Exactly. And by taking those moments to celebrate
Yeah.
those wins, we reinforce those positive neural pathways and we create that sense of momentum
I love that.
that propels us forward.
This is making me realize how much our brains play a role in this whole thing. It's not just willpower or, positive thinking.
Right.
It's about actually understanding how our thoughts and actions are impacting our neurochemistry.
Yes.
And using that to our advantage.
It's like we're hacking our own operating systems.
I love that.
To become more confident versions of ourselves.
Okay, before we go too far down the rabbit hole of neuroscience,
Okay.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the power of body language.
Yes.
So you mentioned the power pose.
Uh-huh.
But are there other ways that we can use body language to boost confidence?
Absolutely. The source highlights several other techniques.
Okay.
One that stood out to me was open body language.
Okay.
It's about standing tall shoulders, back chest, open, making eye contact, and using those expansive gestures.
So it's basically the opposite of what we do when we're feeling insecure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hunching over, avoiding eye contact, crossing our arms.
Right, right.
And the research shows that adopting this open body language can not only make us appear more confident to others, but it can also increase our own feelings of self-assurance.
So it's like a fake it till you make it, but for body language.
You got it.
Yeah.
But it's not about being inauthentic.
Right.
It's about consciously using our body language to send those positive signals to our brain and influence our internal state. It's like giving ourselves a nonverbal pep talk.
I love that. It's like we're saying, hey, I'm open to new experiences, I'm ready to take on challenges, and I believe in myself.
Yes, and what's so amazing is that our body language, it doesn't just impact our internal state, it also influences how others perceive us.
Oh, interesting.
Studies have shown that people who use open body language are seen as more confident, more trustworthy, and more likable.
So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
We feel more confident, and then we project that confidence, which can open up all sorts of opportunities.
Precisely. And it reminds us that confidence isn't just about how we feel on the inside.
Yeah.
It's also about how we present ourselves to the world.
This is giving me so much to think about.
Me too.
I'm starting to see confidence like in a whole new light.
Yeah.
It's not just a personality trait.
Right.
It's a skill we can develop
Totally.
and cultivate through deliberate action, mindset shifts, and even, these body language hacks.
I completely agree. And the more we understand the science behind confidence, the more empowered we become to create lasting change.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to something the source emphasized.
Okay.
The importance of self-compassion.
Yes.
Why is that so crucial for building confidence?
That's a great question. Self-compassion plays such a vital role because it creates that safe and supportive inner environment where we can actually take risks, learn from those mistakes, and grow without that fear of judgment or self-criticism.
So it's like being our own best friend, cheering ourselves on, offering a shoulder to cry on when we need it.
Yes. The source explained that self-compassion is about treating ourselves with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that we would offer to a loved one.
That makes so much sense. We wouldn't berate a friend,
right,
for making a mistake or failing to reach a goal. So why do we do that to ourselves?
Totally. It's often easier to be kind to others than to ourselves.
Oh, sure.
But the source argues that cultivating self-compassion is essential for building resilience and overcoming setbacks.
Okay.
So when we're able to offer ourselves that grace and understanding, we're less likely to get derailed by those challenges and more likely to bounce back stronger.
So it's like we're building this foundation of unconditional self-acceptance.
Yes.
Which then allows us to, take risks, embrace challenges, and ultimately achieve our goals without that fear of failure holding us back.
Precisely. And the research shows that self-compassion is linked to all sorts of benefits.
Oh, what?
Increased happiness, reduced anxiety and depression, improved relationships, and even better physical health.
That's incredible. It sounds like self-compassion is not just a nice to have.
Right.
But it's essential.
It's essential.
For our well-being.
Absolutely. And it's a skill we can all develop with practice.
Okay.
The source offers some great tips for cultivating self-compassion.
Okay.
Like practicing mindfulness, challenging negative self-talk, and engaging in activities that bring us joy.
I love that it's like we're creating this self-care toolkit
Yes.
with practices that nourish our minds, bodies, and spirits.
And as we nurture ourselves with self-compassion,
Yeah,
we create that fertile ground for confidence to blossom.
I like that.
It's like we're telling ourselves, I'm worthy of love and support, even when I make mistakes or fall short.
That's such a powerful message. It's like we're
Oh.
giving ourselves permission to be human,
Yes.
to be perfectly imperfect,
Totally.
and to embrace this whole journey of growth and evolution without judgment.
And that's the beauty of this whole process.
Yeah.
It's not about striving for some unattainable ideal
Right.
of perfection. It's about embracing who we are right now, flaws and all,
Yes.
and believing in our capacity to learn, grow,
I love that.
and become the best versions of ourselves.
This has been such an enlightening conversation.
Me too.
I'm starting to see confidence as more than just a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a mindset, a practice, a journey of self-discovery.
I couldn't agree more. And as we continue to explore this topic,
Okay.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on something the source touched on.
Yeah.
The idea that confidence is contagious.
Oh.
What are your thoughts on that?
I love that idea. That confidence is contagious.
Yeah.
It makes me think about those times when I've been around someone who just radiates self-assurance.
Yeah.
Their energy is infectious, and I
Really?
I feel more confident being around them.
It's like their belief in themselves somehow rubs off on you
Yeah.
and gives you permission
Right.
to step into your own power.
Totally. And the source actually mentioned this study
Oh, wow.
about this. And researchers found that when people observe others behaving confidently, it activates the reward centers in their brains,
Yeah.
triggering a dopamine release.
So witnessing someone else's confidence actually makes us feel good.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
It's like our brains are wired to learn from and be inspired by others' examples
I
of
felt for sure.
inspiration.
It's like we're subconsciously picking up on those cues
Yeah.
and internalizing them.
Yeah. And it's not just about observing like those grand displays of confidence. It can be little things too,
Yeah.
like watching a friend speak up in a meeting or seeing a stranger
Mm-hmm.
navigate a challenging situation with grace.
You got it. And it makes me think about how important it is
Yeah.
to surround ourselves with those positive and supportive people
Yes.
who lift us up
Yes.
and inspire us to be our best selves.
Absolutely. The source talked about this. The power of our social circles in shaping our
Yes.
beliefs and behaviors.
Our environments are so important.
Yeah, when we're surrounded by people who believe in us, encourage us, and celebrate our wins,
Yeah.
it creates that foundation for confidence to grow.
It's like we're creating that positive feedback loop.
Right.
Where confidence breeds confidence.
And then on the flip side,
Yeah.
if we're constantly surrounded by negativity and self-doubt,
Totally.
it's harder to maintain our own sense of,
Yeah. Can chip away at it.
self-assurance.
That's why it's so important to be mindful of those environments that
Yeah.
we're spending our time in and the people that we allow into our inner circle.
Totally. We have the power to create that supportive ecosystem
Yes.
that nourishes our confidence and helps us thrive.
Couldn't agree more.
This makes me wonder if there are other, unexpected ways we can
Yeah.
catch the confidence bug, so to speak.
Yeah.
Are there other little things we can do in our daily lives to boost our self-belief?
That's a great question. The source suggests paying attention
Okay.
to those small moments of triumph that we often overlook.
Okay.
It could be something as simple as completing a task, overcoming a fear,
Right.
receiving positive feedback from someone we admire.
I love that's we're training ourselves
Yeah.
to spot those little sparks
Those are wins.
of confidence
Yeah.
in our everyday lives. And by acknowledging them and celebrating those small wins, we're reinforcing those neural pathways
Exactly.
and creating that upward spiral
And it all starts to build.
of self-belief.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that saying, what we focus on expands.
Yes.
So if we're constantly dwelling on,
Yeah.
our shortcomings, that's what's going to grow.
Totally.
But if we choose to focus on our strengths and successes,
Right.
even the small ones,
Yeah.
that's where our confidence is going to flourish.
And as our confidence grows, we naturally start to radiate that energy outwards, inspiring others
I love that.
to step into their own power.
Yeah. It's like that ripple effect
Yes.
of positivity
Ripple effect of confidence.
and self-belief.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Spreading out.
This has been such an insightful and empowering deep dive.
I agree.
We've learned so much about the science behind confidence, the importance of action and self-compassion,
Mm-hmm.
the power of body language and positive social circles.
Yeah.
And this whole idea that confidence is contagious and it can be cultivated
Absolutely.
through everyday experiences.
I think the biggest takeaway for me
Yeah.
is that confidence isn't this fixed trait.
Right.
You're either born with it or you're not.
Right.
It's a skill we can actually develop
Totally.
and strengthen
Through practice.
through practice, mindset shifts,
Yeah.
and just surrounding ourselves with those right people and environments.
Absolutely. And as we continue to cultivate our confidence, we unlock a world of possibilities for ourselves and inspire others to do the same. So, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
If confidence is indeed contagious, what will you do today to spread that positive energy?
That's a great question.
To those around you.
For everyone to ponder.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep diving deep and keep shining bright.